Hello internet, my name is Lave and this week I watched Loving, which is written and directed by Nichols, who in my opinion is actually an underrated writer and director. He's got a solid CV of films which includes Mud and the recent Midnight Special. I haven't seen Shotgun Stories yet, but I will do at some point. It's on my to watch list. But I think my favourite film of his is Take Shelter. What I really like about him is that he can jump between genres. Midnight Special is sci-fi, Mud is a thriller, whereas Take Shelter is a psychological thriller. And this time around he's doing a period drama biography about Richard and Mildred Loving, who were a couple living in Virginia who got married in 1958. Unfortunately for them, interracial marriage was illegal in that state, so the local law enforcement arrests them. They get taken to the judge, who give them the ultimatum of being arrested for a year or kicking them out of the state. And the film then really focuses on their lives over the next 10 years as they live in Washington but keep trying to get home. Every time they do, they keep getting arrested. The injustice of it all is just... ugh. So much like Nichols' other films, it's quite a slow burner. He's really taken a minimal approach to it all. It's not a very dialogue heavy film. Now, I'm not saying that it's a silent film by any means, but the dialogue is very minimal. The director in this case is preferring to show you how things happen as opposed to telling you how things happen. And this, combined with cinematography from Adam Stones, they're really showing you the passage of time. There isn't any title cards to tell you how long has passed. It's really a visual experience as you see the seasons changing and their kids grow. I thought Joel Edgerton was really good as Richard Loving. He's a blue-collar, hard-working guy who just wants to look after his wife and raise his family. I do want to point out that I thought the trailers made him out to be a simple southerner. Told him I love my wife. But really, he's just a normal, hard-working guy, and like so many men from that era, doesn't really know how to vocalise his feelings. Everything is all internalised, but that's not to say that you don't see the stress of it all. It's through him that you really see kind of paranoia taking over. There's a couple of really intense car chase sequences where they're trying to get back home. It really did remind me of a few of the scenes in Midnight Special, which Joel Edgerton also starred in. And then you've got Ruth Negga as Mildred, who I think gives the best performance in the film, not necessarily through vocals, but through her facial expression. It's such a fantastic internal and understated performance. Even when she gets good news, she doesn't really show the emotion, and that's really hard to act, if that makes sense. But really, this film is a focus on them as a family and their extended family. What's even more interesting is that this happened with the civil rights movement in 1963, which you do see glimpses of, and obviously you see a glimpse of Martin Luther King as well. But really, their story isn't a part of that, and wisely this film doesn't turn into some courtroom drama, even though they do get a lawyer who battles to get them to Supreme Court, and there is a glimpse of Supreme Court, but it stays out of it, and I think all the better for it. I think the most emotional part for this film for me was the very end, which I'm not going to spoil, but there is some text that comes up on the screen and it really hit me. I was like, oh. In terms of some negatives, I do have a couple of nitpicky points. I think the guy who plays the sheriff, I can't pronounce his name, it's Marton Csokas or something, this guy. I think his performance is fine, it's completely serviceable, it isn't anything that you haven't seen before, he is a git. But there were a couple of occasions where I really struggled to understand what he was saying because of his southern accent. And there is a sequence in the film when two separate shots are intercut and interweaved with each other. I get why they did it, but I just didn't think it was in keeping with the rest of the film. But other than that, a very solid, well-directed, well-written, well-acted film. You should go and see it. So that's my thoughts on Loving, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. Nichols has delivered yet another solid film. I think if you're a fan of any of his other work, you will like this. It's a story that I didn't know anything about, and I think it's quite an important story as well, particularly with everything that's going on in America at the moment. Yes, it is a bit of a slow burner, but it's a character study and a visual story as well. I was thoroughly engaged all of the way through, and as I say, a very important story. So thanks very much for watching my review of Loving. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give this video a like, and don't forget to share the Lave. Told him I love my wife. Subscribe.